How's it going, everybody? Today I'm reviewing the Season 7 finale. I know it just started, it felt like, of Game of Thrones, The Dragon, and the Wolf. Spoilers episode. If you have not seen it, go watch the episode, then come back here. And before I get fully into it, just a reminder to follow me on the new app Stardust. Available on iOS and Android. You can post quick reactions to your favorite movies and TV shows. Follow me there at Brad Thomas. It would be great help if you do so, especially if you follow me first. Even helps out even more. So let's get into the review. So we start off for the moment we've all been waiting for. We're getting the meeting between Daenerys and Cersei. We're getting two sides coming together. Everyone's preparing their side. You got Bronn and Jaime leading the charge. Everyone calling Bronn Lord is kind of a funny moment. Of course, he acknowledges that. He's like, I can't get used to this thing. A very cool moment. And you see Dany's Unsullied army outside the gates, outside the walls, I should say. And of course, the Dothraki horde comes in as well. And we're preparing for this big climactic meeting. Things could go wrong, but things could go right. We'll have to wait and see. And they're going to be meeting in the Dragon Pits, kind of where Balerion the Dread and everyone was held up in there. Of course, we find out later that Dany's like, this is kind of the downfall of why these dragons, like, maybe it was Tyrion who mentioned it, I can't quite remember who, how they basically couldn't grow to their full size because they're trapped in these cages, and not cages, but this restricted area, and they couldn't have the freedom to fly around and be themselves. But that's where they're going to meet as kind of a symbolic place for the Targaryen Empire that they're going to. And this is just a cool moment of seeing all these characters come together. I thought it was cool, like last episode when you had all these weird characters, different characters meeting and going north of the wall. This is just even like crazier. You're getting the, like, Jon has never been this far south other than when he was born. You got like Daenerys like meeting with Cersei. There's so many crazy moments, and there's just crazy interactions and reunions that come with this. The first of which would be Podrick and Tyrion meeting up, his old squire. Great camaraderie between them. They still respect each other. They still like each other. They still get along. Also, Tyrion reuniting with Bronn. Again, they have a quick back and forth, but again, they're still friends to the end. And it's cool seeing these reunions come together. Also, you get the kind of reunion, I guess, of Brienne and the Hound. It's like, oh, I thought you were dead. Nope, not dead. And then he asks about Arya, and Arya's like, oh, who's gonna protect her if you left her there alone? And she's like, she can hold her own. She can take care of herself now. And then once they all get into the pits there, you see also another reunion of the Hound and the Mountain brothers meeting together. Of course, the Hound noticing that, hey, you look really messed up right now, but you're gonna die eventually, so you can go on your way. I don't know. She kind of like says like, oh, you know what's coming to you. I don't know what exactly that meant, if there's a prophecy around that, like how the Hound's gonna die, or maybe he saw something in the flames, or maybe I'm just reading too much into that. Who knows? So you can let me know in the comment section below. But yeah, cool just reunions along the way. Then of course Daenerys arrives on her dragons, riding Drogon in. Of course, she only got the two of them, and Cersei acknowledges that later on, like, hey, like she only got two dragons. What happened to the other one? I think one of them's dead. They're not indestructible. But yeah, she arrives, and we get the meeting starting. But of course, before they get fully into the meeting, Euron pipes in and makes fun of Theon, and again, but even Cersei, I'll give her credit. She's like, no, Euron, sit your ass down. We got shit to do. We got shit to discuss. And then the meeting finally gets underway with Tyrion coming out and pitching his ideas and basically saying this is what's got to happen. We got to come together to fight the undead. Jon, of course, piping in a little bit as well, saying, pretty much reiterating all those thoughts, and the Hound brings in the White. And while this moment's going on, I'm like, it'd be very Game of Thrones for this thing to actually just be dead. Like, it wouldn't work, and I was fearing it. Of course, that's not the case. The White comes out, almost attacks Cersei, but of course the Hound pulling him back at the last moment. And then they pretty much put on their magic showcase of showing, like, oh, this is what this is. You can chop it in half, it still kind of moves. You can do this, and it still kind of moves. Only way to defeat it is with fire, burn the hand, and with Dragonglass stab the White. So they put on their display, and you can tell everyone's taken aback, even Cersei a little bit. You can tell that she's like, holy shit, this stuff is real, actually. And but will it convince her? Of course, she's like, okay, I will do this, but Jon, you gotta like support me. You gotta agree to come to a truce with me and pretty much bend the knee to me. And Jon, of course, being Ned Stark's kid, and him acknowledging the fact that he may be doing the same thing that his father did, or his father did. But he decides, like, nope, I've already bent the knee to this queen. And then Cersei walks on her way and basically just says, nope, screw you. I ain't dealing with this anymore. We'll deal with it ourselves. You guys go fight up by yourself. And that's with Tyrion, when he's just saying, you gotta lie every once in a while just to make things happen. And, of course, that's So Tyrion basically says, I got one option, let me go talk to her. And Jon's like, no, I screwed up, I'll do it. But he's like, no, she'll definitely kill you. There's a chance she might kill me, but let's go in here and talk it out. And of course, Tyrion and Jaime kind of say their kind of goodbyes. Like, and this episode had me, like, I kind of knew nothing bad was going to happen, but I feared. I'm like, is Tyrion going to die? Is Tyrion going to kill his sister because of the whole prophecy thing? Who knows what's going to happen? And he's drinking the wine in there. I'm like, what if the wine's poisoned? Because she's not drinking it. But then I'm like, no, she's not drinking it because she's pregnant. That makes sense. But they have a great conversation scene. I love the scene between Tyrion and Cersei. Such a great, powerful scene, well written. And Tyrion basically saying, hey, kill me right now, just do it. And of course she doesn't, again, because there's that family love still there. Even though she kind of hates him, she knows now that he didn't kill Joffrey, and everything like that. But there's hate there, but she's not going to kill him. And then they come to the agreement, like, she pretty much, like, kind of fools Tyrion into doing all these things, and we find out it's all part of her master plan later on, holding the stomach, implying that, again, she's pregnant and all that, and Tyrion acknowledging that, and basically says she's got to protect her family, but in order to protect family, I got to do this, protect the realm. So they agree. They come back out. Before that, also Jon and Daenerys have this moment again. This more, as again, foreshadowing for later on in the episode. This weird romance. It's still blooming, and they have this moment. I was just waiting for some like romantic cheesy music to come on. But yeah, then Tyrion comes out with Cersei, and they say, "Hey, we will support you. Let's do this. Let's fight." Let's fight the undead. Then up in Winterfell, we get the conversation between Littlefinger and Sansa, and just Littlefinger, from at this point in the show, Littlefinger just manipulating the crap out of Sansa, and I was getting so infuriated with what was going on. I was getting very angry. I was like, Sansa's gonna kill Arya. This is bullshit. I don't like this at all. And like saying how like, oh, you got to think of the worst case scenario. Like what's the worst thing she could want, and her supposedly again at this moment playing right into his hand. I was like, this frustrates me. And like, Jon, screw going wherever you were going. You got to get back up to Winterfell, because in the next scene we see Daenerys and her war council, and basically saying, what should we do? And she's like, oh, we'll travel together. I think it's probably the best thing for me, because we got to be seen together in order to actually have this full trust between us, and have the other people, the northern people, see you with each other, and show that you guys actually are together and not conspiring, or she's not trying to trick anybody behind everyone's back. But I was like, Jon, get back north. Who cares? You got to get back north. You got to stop this, put an end to this madness going on in Winterfell. Then Theon and Jon have a nice little moment together, kind of talking about forgiveness, and saying like, I can't forgive you for everything, but at least I can forgive you for some things. Again, you helped save Sansa and everything with that. And just seeing Theon kind of start to become more Theon-esque, and saying how like, your father was more our father than my father was, and how he's like kind of like half Stark, half Greyjoy, but in the end, he is a Greyjoy. He's got to save his sister. So he goes out to his men. He's like, I got to save my sister. We got to go find Yara. And the one guy like taking none of it's like, no, we're not doing it. We're not doing it at all. She's dead. And give credit to Theon. I thought Theon, this would be very Game of Thrones. Him going out trying to save his sister but dying in a tragic way would have fit perfectly. And I kind of almost wanted Theon to die there, because it would just been a tragic end to his story, and it kind of fits with what's gone on, and it's very Game of Thrones-esque had he died there. But of course he doesn't. Gets hit below the belt, and of course doesn't really affect Theon all that much, and ends up swinging the table. He swung the tables quite quickly there, and then end up killing him, I think, by knocking him out there. And they go off to save Yara, and I think that's going to be happening probably next season a little bit. Hopefully it doesn't take up too much, because it feels like an offshoot plot that we don't necessarily need going forward. But I understand that probably has to happen. Then we get back in Winterfell, and Arya is escorted into the halls at Winterfell, and I was getting very angry about this. And then Sansa says like, hey, you stand trial for treason and murder or something like that. And I'm like, what? This is kind of weird thing, like treason and stuff. Like, what did she do exactly? I'm curious here. And he's like, Lord Baelish. And I was like, oh shit, they turned on him. Which raises some questions to last episode. Like, what were the point of those scenes? Did they find out after the fact, after Arya threatened to cut her up and take her face? Was that like, that had to have been before they conspired, correct? Because that's the only way it makes sense, but it almost doesn't feel like that was the way it happened, and in turn makes that scene kind of pointless, because like there was no one else in the room, so why are they having this conversation? It's just for the audience. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe one of you can explain it, and maybe it did happen afterwards, and that is the case, and then I'll be like, okay, that makes sense a little bit. But regardless, one of the most satisfying scenes was this one, and then just Littlefinger slowly realizing, like, okay, what the heck's going on? I loved you, I loved your mother, and everything like that, and then him begging and crying on the floor, just like, it just made him look like such a little whiny bitch. Apologies for the language, but that's what it looked like. And just seeing him in that state, and then her saying like, no, kill her. Arya goes up, slits the throat, similar to how Catelyn was killed, right along the throat. And just such a satisfying death. I didn't think Littlefinger was still going to die this season. I thought he may have been big players for the throne going forward, but not the case. He's out of the game. Littlefinger, bye-bye. Then we get Jaime planning his march and the attack and how they're going to go forward, going north. Cersei, of course, comes in and says, like, no, we're not doing that. I was lying the whole time. And turns the table, basically conspiring behind Jaime's back. And Jaime's like, no, I kept an oath. I made a promise. I'm going to do this. The undead. And Jaime's saying, like, whatever happens, we're screwed if we stay back here. Like, if we don't go with them and the dead win, they come marching on us. If the living win, they come marching back on us and everything like that. So it's Jaime pitching this to her, like, we got to do this. We have to do this. But of course, Cersei just looking out for her and her family and her kid to be on the way. And just seeing that and conspiring behind Jaime's back and getting Euron to go get the Golden Company from Essos to come back, bring those along, and then they're basically going to take all the kingdoms as they go to fight the walkers up north. So and I love this scene because Jaime finally snaps and breaks free from Cersei, calling her bluff as well when Cersei threatens to kill Jaime. Of course, the Mountain, I feared for Jaime there for a second, but also, again, I thought of the Valancourt theory, the whole thing, or the prophecy, I should say, about how, like, the brother would kill Cersei, and I'm like, oh, maybe Jaime's gonna kill Cersei here, but I'm like, probably not, because the Mountain's right there, that means Jaime's done as well. Who knows what would happen there? But of course, he calls her bluff and says, like, I'm on my way, do it if you have to, I'm going. And of course, we get the first snowfall in King's Landing as he leaves on his way to go join our friends up north. And hopefully he can get there in time to tell them that, hey, Cersei's turned on you guys, and you should watch out. Then Sam returns to Winterfell, sees Bran there, and it's the happiest I've seen Bran, like, in this whole season. He was, like, more happy to see Sam than he was his sisters, I guess, because he's like, oh, you helped me become the Three-Eyed Raven by letting me go north of the wall. I guess that's the only reason. Of course, we get the montage reveal kind of thing, or kind of reveal, we already knew it, but just a more clearer picture of what exactly happened, of the whole marriage thing that Sam brings up. I guess he heard Gilly, or he said he found out when he was transcribing them and writing them all down, that Rhaegar and Lyanna actually did have a marriage, and Jon is not actually Jon Sand, he's actually Jon Targaryen, but actually his name isn't Jon, his real name is Aegon, which raises some questions because that was Rhaegar's other kid's name as well that died at the hands of the Mountain, who was... Rhaegar was originally married to Oberyn's sister and had 2 kids, and they were killed by the Mountain. Again, one of his names was Aegon, which is a weird name, then it's like a name to both his kids Aegon. It's kind of strange when you really think about it, but this weird montage thing with the whole auntie-nephew thing going on, and them intercutting it with this whole Bran speaking over it, and it's just... you know it's not going to end well, and Tyrion, of course, looking on like, this isn't a good idea, you guys probably shouldn't be doing this. It's going to raise some tensions when he finds out, probably in the first episode of Season 8. I'm thinking that's when it's going to happen. Just some crazy stuff going on. And I don't know what's going to happen, if they're going to hate each other, they're going to like each other after it. It's raised some question, because now Jon is technically the rightful ruler of the realm, him being a male and stuff like that. So who knows what's going to happen. It's some craziness. I don't think Jon really cares too much. I don't think he has any interest in it. So hopefully they can be like, hey, you can still rule. I don't really care that much. But the romance thing, we'll see how that turns out. And the whole fact also that Robert's Rebellion built on a lie, because he thought it was because Lyanna was kidnapped by Rhaegar, but it turns out Lyanna just went down with Rhaegar on their lonesome, and just got married, and Robert basically started this whole thing and basically changed everything. Well, it's all Lyanna's fault, really, when you think about it. She went off secretly and did this whole thing, causing chaos amongst the 7 kingdoms. The last bit of Winterfell we get was Arya and Sansa kind of bonding a little bit, kind of coming to a truce with one another, saying like, oh, like that's the most like sisterly we've been this whole time and everything like that, and then finally coming together and bonding. And then we ended off with Beyond the Wall. Bran wargs in, sees some things going on, and of course, Tormund, Beric, they're up at Eastwatch, and the night come, to kill them. I assume they're not actually dead, but basically you see the dead, and you see the Night King ride in on Viserion with his plasma, fire, ice thing. I assume it's fire because it's melting the ice and stuff like that, but it's like this plasma ray shit. It's crazy. It's bananas. Who knows what the hell is going on? But just that pure destruction, and we end off with more of a tragic note compared to last season where we had Daenerys sailing across the narrow sea. This time we get the dead marching across the wall in south of the wall now, and it's 6 episodes left. 6 episodes left. Craziness is happening. I assume Beric and Tormund aren't dead, like I said, because we didn't see them actually die, but it's, again, it feels convenient. It's my only negative of this whole episode type thing. It's just convenience and how, like, no real... I mean, I love the Baelish death scene, but none of our heroes kind of died or anything like that, which I would have kind of liked to see a little bit, but overall, great episode. Hour 20 minutes. Went by so fast. Loved every second of it. Cannot wait for next season. I'm probably going to rewatch the series. I might even reread the books because I'm going through withdrawals already. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on this episode and this video in the comment section below. Again, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos each and every week. That is it. And I will talk to you about Game of Thrones probably next year when the trailers first start coming out. But until then, I'll talk to y'all later.